Well, Shirley, at this point, it looks like the owner of the vehicle was run over by his own van with nobody in the driver's seat. Witnesses tell police it began 272 meters away in the parking lot of Home Depot just before 8 p.m., that the man noticed his van rolling away, jumped out in front of it, trying to stop it, and in the process was run over. The van proceeded through 2 intersections before it was stopped, smashing into that signpost and the fence. Luckily, it stopped there. Otherwise, it could have rolled into the intersection of Eglinton Avenue, and God knows how many people could have been injured in the process. Now, at this point, police say that he is in non-life-threatening condition at Sunnybrook Hospital. He may have suffered a broken pelvis, amongst other things, but he is lucky to be alive tonight. Back to you.
Thank you, Minna.
To MINNA RHEE with an update. Minna.
Mark, the College Station has been closed for over 2 hours now after a black duffel bag was left by the collector's booth. Now, if you take a look across the street, you'll see about half a dozen officers hovering around the opening of College Station. I'm told that bag was x-rayed and they're just waiting for the results to come by. A robot here from the bomb squad is on standby just in case. At this point, they're not sure what they're dealing with, whether it in fact is dangerous or not. I should know, though, that the subway is operating as usual. It's just College Station that's closed right now. Mark?
All right, good to know. Thank you once again. MINNA RHEE live for us at Yonge and College.
We haven't seen... Well, Christina, this is what they're waiting to get their hot little hands on here. Gears of War 2. The doors will be swinging open promptly at midnight at 20,000 retailers around the world. You can see the lineup growing nicely, almost to bay here at Best Buy. I'm going to pull in a fan. James, tell me what the anticipation for this game has been like.
It's been ongoing since the first one came out about 2 years ago, and they've really hyped it up, really viral. Everybody's hearing about it.
And I guess it's working because you're here.
It is, yeah. I mean, I've been waiting for about 2 years. It's a lot like a sequel movie. So, you know, first one comes out, it's got a cliffhanger. Everybody's waiting for the backstory. I think that's why everybody's here. Well,
I hope it doesn't disappoint. Christina, I wanted to tell you that we got a sneak peek earlier tonight at a launch party at Bay Subway Station. Take a look. The end of a long 2-year wait has finally arrived for gamers, thrust back into the planet Sarah, battling locusts in the highly anticipated Gears of War 2.
The game is phenomenal. The graphics are just unbelievable.
Developers built on the strengths of the original blockbuster hit, which sold over 5 million units worldwide.
The visual presentation. When you run, the camera drops back almost as if a war photographer is following behind you. So you really get that experience of, I'm down in the trenches, I'm being shot at.
The marketing behind this game began 6 months ago, with Epic Games going so far as to hide 1,000 of these COG tags in secret locations around the world, only 30 of them here in Canada. Aravindan Rajasingham went on quite the treasure hunt to find his and unleash clues to the game.
It was at Mount Pleasant, a cemetery. Right beside it there is a bridge that leads to it, and there was rocks on the side, and I had to pull out the rocks to actually find it within it.
The goal was to create an emotionally engaging experience that would rival watching a heart-pounding movie.
The level of realism, just the way that the textures and the lighting work make it a really immersive experience. Like, for example, if you see a shadow moving on the ground, you know that there's probably somebody like right behind something that you can't see. It makes it just like real life.
And just as James said earlier, the anticipation for this game really rivals that of a blockbuster film, and it will likely rake in much more money than that. And just for the record, I should say, my copy is empty. I'm going to have to get in line just like the rest of them. What concerns police the most is the suspect's behavior prior to the attacks. These were not random crimes of opportunity. He targeted these women, zoning in on the victims while they were riding the subway cars before following them off onto the platform and onto the bus. Anne-Marie, I've got a very special guest here with me, the super fabulous producer, Andrew Lloyd Webber. You said you remember seeing the show for the first time when you were 13. Tell me about how much work has gone into the Toronto production.
Well, I produced the show because I was lucky enough to meet Richard Rodgers when I was a kid. I wrote him a fan letter, and he asked me to go to the first night in London. And I got the feeling right back then that the show wasn't completely produced in the way that Rodgers and Hammerstein wanted, because it's really about a young girl coming into this family. meeting a very much older man. And it becomes much more interesting and much more dangerous if it was produced that way. So my ambition always was, because of course I'm a composer myself and I never really normally produce, but because I love this show so much, I just thought, what if we did try and cast it with a young girl? And that's how we came across the idea of doing the television casting, which worked brilliantly in England.
Which won an Emmy in England.
Won an Emmy, yeah. Because, of course, it was the only way we could find a young girl who the public would come to see in a way.
Find so endearing.
And it was a very interesting experience, and I hope it's going to work here in the same way. Obviously, I saw the final here, and I thought we got some really, really good kids. So I think it'll work very well.
Well, judging from the accolades in England, I'm sure it'll do amazing. Thank you so much for spending some time with us this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. So tonight is the opening of the North American premiere. Here's a little bit.
With the sound of music.
The youngest of the real Von Trapp children is actually going to be attending here tonight, so we're very excited to see him, Johan, as well as family members of Rodgers and Hammerstein. Now this is one that I'm really excited to see because The Sound of Music has been my personal favorite musical since I was a young kid. I won't sing for you though.
All right, well, Minna Rhee, you'll get this line then. Adieu, adieu. Thanks very much. Great job.
The sad thing is, as soon as prices begin to drop, people stop conserving and revert back to their old driving habits. Environmentalists say, regardless of price, it's time for a permanent shift in behavior. Hi, Anne-Marie. Well, what they're trying to do here is create a bit of Leafs fever here at Yonge and Dundas Square. Keep in mind, this is the first time in decades the team has actually spent money to draw up support for the team. You've got the Leafs mobile unit over here where they've been handing out free blue and white swag to fans. Hundreds of people have been coming into Yonge and Dundas Square all afternoon to take part in this event. You can see under these tents here various games being staged, but I've got to admit, the coolest part of this event is taking place way, way, way up there on that billboard. Hockey has reached new heights in TO as a stunt team hangs 10 stories up in the air, defying